New Irish research from RCSI that will be of interest to nurses and midwives, as shift workers have demonstrated the significant role that an irregular body clock plays in driving inflammation in the body's immune cells, with serious implications for health. The circadian body clock keeps humans healthy and in time with the day/night cycle. This includes regulating the rhythm of macrophages, our innate immune cells. When these cell rhythms are disrupted, e.g., by erratic eating/sleeping patterns or shift work, the cells produce molecules that drive inflammation. This in turn can lead to chronic inflammatory diseases such as heart disease, obesity, arthritis, diabetes, and cancer. It can also compromise our ability to fight infection. The RCSI researchers looked at macrophages with and without a body clock under laboratory conditions. They found that macrophages without a body clock took up far more glucose and broke it down more quickly than normal cells. They also found that in mitochondria, the pathways by which glucose was further broken down to produce energy were very different in macrophages without a clock. This led to the production of reactive oxygen species, which further fueled inflammation. Another study found that nurses who work the night shift report more sleep disturbances and are more likely to suffer from psychological and physical health symptoms, including PTSD, insomnia, and inflammation. The research from Oregon State University involved 392 nurses who reported their sleep experiences in daily sleep diaries for 14 days, noting the duration, quality, efficiency, how long they were in bed versus how long they were asleep, and nightmare severity. Researchers also took blood samples at the halfway point to test for general immune response and inflammation. Based on the results, participants were sorted into 3 sleep classes. 80% reported good overall sleep, 11% had poor overall sleep, and 8% were in the nightmares-only group, with mostly average sleep above average levels of nightmare severity. They found that nurses in the poor overall sleep class were more likely to be recent night shift workers than those in the good overall sleep class. They reported worse sleep quality along with more PTSD, more depression, more insomnia, and more severe anxiety and perceived stress than those in the good overall sleep group. Meanwhile, according to a new study led by researchers at NYU's Rory Myers College of Nursing, more than half of nurses had difficulty sleeping during the first 6 months of the COVID-19 pandemic, and getting less sleep increased their odds of experiencing anxiety and depression. The study found that nurses faced unpaid alleged challenges working on the front lines of the pandemic, including staffing shortages, an early lack of PPE, and witnessing widespread suffering and death. It is only now that research is beginning to reveal the impact of these ongoing stressors on nurses and midwives' mental health and well-being. The findings from this study were consistent with the InMO surveys on the psychological impact of COVID on nurses and midwives, which reported very high levels of psychological distress and mental exhaustion. The NYU study examined nurses' experiences of working during the first 6 months of the pandemic, revealed high rates of depression, 22%, anxiety, 52%, and insomnia, 55%. They found that difficulty sleeping was both a contributing factor to and an outcome of poor mental health, and that sleeping for 5 hours or fewer before a shift increased the odds of depression, anxiety, and insomnia. Participants also described how anxiety and thinking about stressful working conditions led to difficulty falling or staying asleep, as well as stress-related sleep problems, changes in work schedules, e.g., working extra hours or switching from the day and night shifts, led to them getting less sleep. To better support nurses and their well-being, the researchers urged employers to take action to address work stress and factors that influence sleep. Another study found that nurses working on rotating day and night shifts had significantly shorter total sleep time, longer sleep onset latency, and lower sleep efficiency than those not working in shifts. In particular, nurses working for 3 or 4 consecutive night shifts had significantly shorter total sleep time, lower sleep efficiency, and longer sleep onset latency than those working for 0 to 2 consecutive night shifts. Further studies show that night shift work can increase cancer risk and is linked with an increased risk of heart problems. There is ample evidence pointing to a need for health employers to take steps to mitigate these risks on behalf of those who work night shifts. In Europe, a large study focusing on health and well-being is being conducted as part of the Magnet for Europe consortium. Baseline data from 15 hospitals is already indicating high burnout levels, with anxiety and depression affecting the well-being of 20 to 25% of nurses. The INMO is committed to continuing to lead the campaign to ensure employers fulfill their duty of care to nurses and midwives and prioritize their health and well-being.